Finally, Friday, and we've got a Sunday game, so the final teams are out. One change this week, Cam O'Shea comes in for Jacob Wiedering. The talk will obviously be around Jacob going back with the flight of the ball, and that collision at the end of the game last week was obviously really brave and something that we ask of our players to do, and that's the reality of the brutal game. And that's what makes our game so great. So unfortunately, Jacob comes out. I'm a little bit disappointed because I thought he was building some confidence, and I thought his form was turning, and I hope he comes back, and I hope we don't just wrap him up and finish his season like that, because it would be a bit of a shame. I really want to get more out of the season from him, but it is what it is. Cam O'Shea comes in. I don't know what I think about it. I think it's probably out of necessity, given that the Giants have Cameron, Himmelberg and Lobb, three pretty tall and dominant, imposing figures. So maybe it's just out of necessity. I would have liked to have seen, even Nick Graham come in. I thought he deserved a spot. I know that he's been oftentimes maligned, not only by myself and just the general football media, but I'm a big believer in rewarding great effort, and I thought he put in a great effort in the VFL last week, as he's done for the majority of the season. So that's how I saw it. Let's have a look at the teams as they came out, and we'll go through and sort of just run down, what we need to see from our players. Starting with the back line, we've got Kieran Burns, Sam Rowe, and Daisy Thomas. Kieran Byrne, good to see him back in the side. I wasn't skeptical. I was just mindful of whether or not he is genuinely in our best 22. He showed some good glimpses. He's got this burst off his first step that he takes, which is really impressive, and it's good that it was evident there last week. And I guess the more games that he plays, the more that we'll see that. So really, just want to see him take the game on. We've obviously been pretty decimated in our backline this season, so he could potentially provide us some spark, some energy. He's an honest defender. He's an Irishman, and they're generally tough. And hopefully we can get a Zach Tui-like player out of Kieran Burns. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing from him. Sam Rowe, I feel like this is probably his biggest test for the season, and maybe for his career. Obviously, you talk about his life, and he's overcome things that most of us will never have to overcome. But just purely from a footy perspective and what's happened this season, I felt like his form dipped in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and he looked a little. It seemed like he was getting a little bit exposed. Whether or not that was just a byproduct of a defense that's inexperienced or a team that's inexperienced, I'm not sure. But it's a big game for him, and we really need him to stand up. And obviously, Jeremy Cameron comes in. Whether Rowe goes to him, I'm not sure. I feel like it's going to be a rotation, given that there's 3 genuine talls there. So, yeah, look, I just want to see him fight and just not get beaten too badly. I just want to see a good, strong effort from him. And Daisy, whenever we come up against these really good sides, we need guys like Daisy to really lead from the front. And, we really don't need his, he has this creative flair to his game, and we need it to pay off this week. We can't afford to have him trying things that don't work, and that's a lot of pressure to put on someone, but that's what we need from him as a senior guy. Half back line, Jed Lamb, Caleb Marchbank and Cade Simpson. Read a really interesting piece this week on Jed Lamb and about his history and his priorities in his life, and he's committed to really putting in a strong month of footy before the season ends to earn himself a contract. And I think when you read a little bit more about players, especially those who you criticise, you get a better understanding and you empathise with them better. So I've done that with Jed Lamb, and I think his last few weeks have been promising. I like him as a defender. I prefer him as a defender. He'll have a matchup, I would imagine, that would be a Toby Green-like matchup, and I think that's perfect for him. Size, he's got the speed. Toby Green's not an explosive player, but Toby Green's a very smart player. So I think it's going to be a great matchup, and obviously Jed Lamb playing against his old side. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing that. Caleb Marchbank, again, playing against his old side. Should be fully fit now. He looked like he took a step forward last week, and I think the touch will come back this week. So I'm expecting to see some of those intercept marks this week. Obviously, Jacob Wiedering's not there, which is a shame. But yeah, looking forward to seeing Caleb Marchbank fill that role. Simo will be Simo. I feel like he's going to have a really good game. He's due for one. I can imagine a 28 or 33 possession game from him, and we need it. The Giants can really score quickly and they can move the ball quickly. So we need communication and we need organisation in the back half. And I think Simo is going to lead that. Centre line, we've got Lockie O'Brien, Paddy Cripps and Jared Pickett. Lockie O'Brien, yeah, I'd love to see him at times go with Lockie Whitfield. I think I think Lockie Whitfield played a lot on the wing early in his career, and I think Lockie O'Brien is obviously going to be a very important runner for us. And just the idea of him matching up against the likes of Whitfield, Shield at times, Kelly especially, I think is great for him, particularly being a left footer. So looking forward to seeing Lockie get some experience under his belt. Cripps will be Cripps. He's elevated himself to arguably one of the best midfielders in the competition. I think he's projected himself into the top 10, maybe top 8 players in the comp this season. I think he's had an incredible year, and hopefully he can just continue on with that, lead from the front. And it's interesting because he doesn't have the captaincy over him, so does that allow him to be more free? I don't know. But yeah, just looking for a strong game from him. And Jared Pickett, very important game for him. Obviously, we've named him in the centre line, so maybe we're going to try him as a midfielder, and he really just needs to perform. He needs to get around the ball. He needs to use his pace. I think we as supporters don't mind if he, there were times last season even when he took the ball, sprinted, lost his footing, bounced the ball, and it bounced the wrong way, but it didn't matter because you could just sense what he was trying to do. So I think we want to see him take the game on this week particularly, and he's got the speed and the explosion to match it with the Giants midfield. So on the other end, the defensive effort needs to be there as well. Half forward line, we've got Darcy Lang, Charlie Curnow and Samo. Lang took a step forward last week, as did Samo. They both had, their best games for the season, and I'm just looking for them both to continue on with that. Lang needs to be, he's not too dissimilar in the Kennedy mould in that he's come here for opportunities to play. He's not, not necessarily a draftee. He's young, but he's not, he's got experience. So we need Lang to show that. Samo, really want to see him respond and continue on with the form that he showed last week. And as for Charlie, well, it's a tough one. He's got, he might have Phil Davis on him at times, who's one of the most underrated defenders in the competition. So whether Davis goes to Charlie or Harry, I don't know, but they're both going to be cut out for it. So yeah, just want to see Charlie do what he does. Like even when he doesn't kick goals, and even when we don't play well, he finds a way to impact the contest. So he's just going to work hard, and I'm glad that I'm not talking about him missing through suspension. I have no idea how Michael Christian was able to find that Stephen May's hit on Ed Curnow was careless as opposed to intentional, and he initially graded Charlie's hit on Stephen May as intentional. So anyway, it is what it is. He's playing, and that's all that matters. In the forward line, Paddy Dow, Matt Kennedy and Matthew Wright, which is interesting. Very interesting. I don't know why we've got Matt Kennedy named at full forward, but it is what it is. Paddy Dow took a big step last week with that running goal, and it just puts the smiles on our faces. I spoke about it earlier in the week about it looking like an Adam Treloar type goal or a Patrick Dangerfield type play. So we just really want to see him again match up against these gun midfielders from the Giants and apply his craft and see how he goes. Matt Kennedy, I don't know if he'll be a full forward for the most part of the game, but obviously playing against his old side as well, and he'll want to put in a good performance. There'll be a bit of banter going on the field. So I want to see him crack in. He's been winning a lot of the ball, and slowly he's been using it better. So I think we just need to see him progress with his ball use and efficiency, and that'll be what I'm looking for in particular. Matty Wright took another step forward last week after maybe a block of footy where he wasn't playing at his best. Really need him to stand up this week. He's a guy that needs to play like a leader. He is a leader. He's an experienced head in the side, and that's what we need from him. The followers have got Harry Mackay, Mark Murphy, and Ed Curnow. Harry will, obviously play in the forward line, I would have thought, predominantly. But yeah, it looks like he'll be pinch hitting in the ruck as well, and that's fine. It's a great experience for him, and I really like the idea of him playing against Phil Davis at times. Whether or not Phil Davis beats him or not, it doesn't matter. This is just purely for experience. So just want to see Harry present well, attack the footy, use his strengths, and I don't mind him taking the game on. He's got a little bit of speed and burst, and he's shown that at times. He kicked a really good goal against Geelong last year in the same manner, where he sprinted off his opponent and kicked the goal and sort of shocked us a little bit. And then he did it last week. He missed the goal, obviously, but that run is something that we'll be looking to see more of. So hopefully Harry goes well. Murph, back to his best last week, and we just want to see that continue. He's obviously, as we were talking about earlier this week and even last week, he's had a good block of footy since his return from injury. Then he's sort of got to work on the touch and the efficiency. So it all came together last week, and I'm really expecting a strong finish to the season from him. So those 30 possession, 1 goal, 2 goal games, I think we're going to see a few more of those. And Ed Curnow, he'll crack in as usual. He'll probably go to one of their mids. I would have thought maybe Josh Kelly, or I don't know, maybe match up against Cornelio. It's going to be interesting. So that's what I expect from Ed, but definitely need him to win a lot of the ball and use it really well. So looking forward to that. On the interchange bench, Jack Silvani, Cam O'Shea, Matty Lobe, and Cam Paulson. So Jack took a step forward last week as well, and really don't want to see that dip. Hopefully he can have string a few games together. I want to see if a lot of these young kids finish the season the right way and not just give in knowing that we've got not much to play for. I don't want to see games where the motivation levels drop and we sort of just let the game fall away. Very much like the Sydney game in round 23 last year, where we just got smashed. I know that Sydney were playing for a top 4 berth, but still I want to see guys finish the season strongly and give us something to look at going into the preseason for next year. I think it's very important. So that's what I want to see from guys like Jack and Cam Paulson. Cam O'Shea, touched on him before. Look, I just want to see good effort. When he has played footy for us in the ones, he's lacked confidence, and I can understand that. He's lacked confidence. He maybe isn't as sure of himself as what we would hope him to be. Maybe he needs to just find his feet. I don't know. I don't expect him to stay in the side long term, but he's in the side this week. So whenever you play for the club, you need to represent the club in the right way, and that's just what I want to see from him. And Matthew Lobe, pretty impressive last week in terms of his effort, and he's a guy that embodies those qualities that we ask for in terms of the effort and the application to the game. So that's what I want to see from Lobe, and I'm sure we will. I'm sure he'll compete hard, coming up against another battler in Dawson Simpson, but I'm looking forward to it. So that's the side. Early start for me. It's a 6:10 a.m. start, but I'll be up, I'll be ready, I'll be roaring. Looking forward to it. I think this is a really, really exciting month of footy ahead, not only for Carlton, but for the AFL in general. I think it's going to be a great final series. I've been doing my head in with the ladder predictor. I can't seem to get a final 8 without changing 2 or 3 games before the season ends, but I'll put up a preview for the finals maybe next week. Maybe I'll do a ladder predictor for next week. I want to see how this round pans out, and then we'll move from there. So enjoy the game, guys. Hopefully you can get down to Etihad and support the boys, and as always, go the Mighty Blues.